Then he cites an article from 2004 in Human Genetics, back to GRLA Hebrew.
There was a test done in 2004 on over 400 Jews. This is the largest test study that I can find. And take a look. So if we just chose one, let's say we said E1B1B was Jacob's haplogroup, right? That means that 84% of Ashkenazi Jews would be disqualified, right? If I chose G2C, 92% of Ashkenazi Jews disqualified. J1 or J2, 81% of Ashkenazi Jews would be disqualified. Q1, 94% of Ashkenazi Jews would be disqualified, right? So on and so forth. So this alleged evidence that he has so much faith in actually totally works against him.
Well, actually, as you just saw there, he's not a genetic scientist, but neither am I, which is why I rely on the genetic scientists to speak for themselves, not to let someone utterly uneducated in genetics, like GRLA Hebrew, or me, for that matter. I'm not going to put my interpretation on it. I'll let them speak for themselves. This is 2004. We have stuff much more recent. But here's what he didn't tell you. I'm going to quote from the article. Here's what the scholars say themselves. We have examined a set of 32 binary markers, single nucleotide polymorphisms, SNPs, and 10 microsatellites on the non-recombining portion of the Y chromosome, NRY, to investigate the ways in which patterns of variation differ between Ashkenazi Jewish and their non-Jewish host populations in Europe. This set of SNPs defines a total of 20 NRY haplogroups in these populations, at least 4 of which are likely to have been part of the ancestral Ashkenazi gene pool in the Near East. So he's telling you that you can trace things back, the Ashkenazi gene pool, when you go all the way back. Where does it come from? The Near East. What's he talking about? Ancient Israel. And then you have these other things brought in through intermarriage. Just again, as you have black Jews, white Jews, Hispanic Jews, Chinese Jews, Indian Jews, because of intermarriage in the different places where the tribes of Israel have been scattered. They're telling you Ashkenazi Jews have origins in the Near East. GRLA Hebrew also totally ignored this major study from late 2022, and I cited it. One of the first things that I cited about DNA in the debate. Genome-wide data from medieval Germany show that the Ashkenazi founder event predated the 14th century. It's Cell, volume 185, December 8th, 2022. Here's a picture of the study as posted online. All right. This is a list of the authors in this peer-reviewed study. Why didn't GRLA Hebrew tell you about this? Devastating arguments against his position from some of the top genetic scholars in the world. There's a list of them. I'm not going to read through this, right? Linguists and others, top scholars. Their conclusion, quote, analysis of Ashkenazi Jews together with a large sample from the region of the Khazar Khaganate corroborates the earliest results that Ashkenazi Jews derive their ancestry primarily from populations of the Middle East and Europe. So Middle East and then intermarriage in Europe, that they possess considerable shared ancestry with other Jewish populations. Why? Because we're all from the same people. And that there is no indication of a significant genetic contribution either from within or from north of the Caucasus region. So in other words, no Khazar connection. Another question. Why didn't GRLA Hebrew tell you about this study, which I also cited in the debate? Human biology. No evidence of genome-wide data of a Khazar origin for the Ashkenazi Jews. Our origins are ancient Israel. There is no evidence of a Khazar gene. I've just got a list here, and I'm just going to go through the slides of all the scholars, all the professors involved in the study, okay? It's page after page. I actually held that list up to show you. This is what we're talking about. So in the debate, I quoted from this, but didn't list the source. I simply quoted from it. Jewish and Middle Eastern non-Jewish populations share a common proof of Y chromosome biallelic haplotypes, going back to 2000. Top scholars involved there. The results support the hypothesis that the paternal gene pools of Jewish communities from Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East descended from a common Middle Eastern ancestral population and suggest that most Jewish communities have remained relatively isolated from neighboring non-Jewish communities during and after the diaspora. Note also the Genetic Literacy Project, which boasts about science, not ideology. The article, Are Modern Jews Converted Khazarian Pagans? No is the answer. More evidence of Middle Eastern roots. Why didn't GRLA Hebrew tell you that the evidence is overwhelmingly against what he was saying genetically? Why couldn't he give you all the information to evaluate for yourself? Team of researchers based at 11 labs in New York City and Israel has for the first time set up a database of genomes drawn exclusively from Ashkenazi Jews. The work is expected to be medically valuable not only for diseases common in this population, but with respect to cancer, for instance, for everybody, according to the paper's senior author, Itzik Pe'er, an associate professor of computer science and systems biology at Columbia University. But the research has also provided additional evidence for a current genetic theory about the origins of the Ashkenazim, that the founding population numbered no more than a few hundred people, Jewish men from the Middle East and the local women they married after they arrived in Egypt. So a small number, hundreds of Jewish men. That's the bottleneck event that was mentioned earlier. Make their way into Europe. Women then marry in, so descent through the father here. Women then marry in, convert into Judaism, and we trace our roots back to Israel and the Middle East, not to the Khazars, not to someone else. Why didn't GRLA Hebrew tell you about these studies? It's an honest question. When you have the truth, you bring everything into the light. Why didn't GRLA Hebrew tell you that his sources are either outdated, rejected, or misinterpreted? What's he hiding from you? Aren't you able to decide for yourself based on facts? Why not give people facts to deal with? But it gets worse. He now cites totally bogus internet articles. Remember, he's saying peer-reviewed, 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 right? Okay, let's listen to this claim.
Lung problems? Try adding